Hawks fans, it's finally happening. The Atlanta Hawks have made their final roster signings. Hawks Media Day is September 29th. Training camp is October 1st through the 3rd. And of course, we all know that the preseason ensues after that, and the regular season is right around the corner. So many things to look forward to. But of course, the Atlanta Hawks making their final roster signing solidifies what I have been saying for quite a long time now. We are going to see a shooter's paradise in Atlanta, okay? With what Trae Young has done last season, leading the NBA in assists and doing what he did for, with the Atlanta Hawks last season, in light of the fact that they had to deal with the injury bug and just basically turning lemons into lemonade. With all of that has happened and bringing in the people that they have, I am super excited for next season because this is going to be a shooters team. Majority of the guys that they brought in have had high percentages of shooting, and I'm going to dive through all of the different players that the Atlanta Hawks have comprised of, as well as the final signing, or the roster signing of Caleb Houstan, who of course he also had a very high clip, of course. So we're going to dive into all of that because, again, next season is going to be really, it's a lot of anticipation going into next season with the Atlanta Hawks. Excuse me. But there's a lot of anticipation with these Atlanta Hawks. Some folks are skeptical, mainly because all of the pieces are in place, but Trae Young, all of the pieces are set up for the Hawks to be good and be great following next season. But of course, if Trae Young does not sign a long-term contract, there's a lot of things that are going to be up in the air. Yes, Trae Young still is under his current contract, but you definitely want to make sure that you get him signed now so that they don't have to deal with the whole free agency and stuff like that. No one ever likes that. No one ever likes that. But before we go any further, my name is Walter Pollard. This is Atlanta Hawks Digest. Let me go ahead and welcome all of you guys in because this is awesome. Now, again, the Atlanta Hawks made their final roster signing to Caleb Houstan. Details are, the details. I don't necessarily have all the details, but that basically solidifies the rest of the roster for the 2025-2026 season. That includes Trae Young, Dyson, Zach, Jalen Johnson, Kristaps Porzingis, Double O, Onyeka Okongwu, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Luke Kennard, V. Krejci, Mo Gay, Asa Newell, Kobe Buffkin, Caleb Houstan. This name is definitely gonna Nefali Dante, and Nikolai Jersic. So again, a lot going on into this season. The Atlanta Hawks have definitely made all of the proper moves, and everything is set. The stage is set for the season. I know this offseason we've talked you guys to death in regards to Trae Young and his contract disputes and whether or not Atlanta feels as though they're going to pay him, or if the Atlanta Hawks are going, just all of that has already just been beaten to you guys' eardrum this entire offseason. So now we can look forward into the season. Now, diving into what it is that I had talked about earlier, how I have been saying, given a look at what the roster is comprised of, the Atlanta Hawks are loaded with shooters. And then with the signing of Caleb Houstan, that just solidifies it. It's almost like the Thanos snap. Once he put that last, rock on his finger, that was it. So now let's dive into it. Of course, because last season, the Atlanta Hawks, they shot 18. What is it? They were 18th, actually. The Atlanta Hawks ranked 18th in shooting, in three-point shooting last season. Now, of course, that is that's not what the Atlanta Hawks wanted. I mean, they even lost to an Orlando Magic's team that was actually the worst three-point shooting team. So, of course, there are a lot of different things that you can definitely look at as far as what was the downfall for the Atlanta Hawks. But just directly pointing at the shooting aspect, the Atlanta Hawks shot a lot, but nothing was going in. George Niang definitely tried, to do what he could. The different additions that we had at the All-Star break definitely tried to do as best they could, but the Hawks couldn't break past the top 15 in shooting in the NBA. Now, as I've mentioned before, this is something that I have seen how the Atlanta Hawks have done, and again, I'm impressed with it, and I think this is what's going to happen this upcoming season. Now, taking a look at who we already have, right? Now, we could go into Kristaps Porzingis, of course, right? Kristaps Porzingis last season shot, I want to say 41% from the three-point line with the Celtics, and given he was injured most of last season, well, I ain't going to say most, but a good amount of time last season, but this was with the Celtics team that he had a strong influence on. He had a strong presence on that Celtics team, and that was a career high for Kristaps Porzingis, being able to shoot that well. And again, people already call him a unicorn, and how he is able to play the big man role very well, be that he's 7'1". You don't see that too often. And then on top of that, he's able to shoot as well as he can. And he came into the NBA knowing that he could shoot, and people were excited to see. Some feels like there's much more to be desired from his career. But again, I still feel, what is this, 9th or 10th season? He is still able to do it. And I think the Hawks are going to be Hawks fans are going to be pleasantly surprised with what he's capable of doing. And then moving on to Luke Kennard, of course, he shot 43% with the Memphis Grizzlies. I want to say he showed up in about 65 games last season, started in 11, but shot about 43% from the three-point line, averaged about 8.9 points per game, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and all of this was on about 22.6 minutes per game. So again, this is somebody that can shoot, and he can heat up quickly. That is something the Atlanta Hawks want to do. They want to be able to get themselves, if they find themselves in a situation where they have to shoot themselves out, this is the guy that they want to use in order to do so. Again, people did have some mixed reviews about this young man because of the injury, I guess the injury aspect that comes with him. But again, this is a high risk, high reward situation. You got this guy for only 1 year. Okay, so you take a risk when you deal with the health, things or the health issues or whatnot, but you also have to deal with the fact that he can shoot extremely well. And if you just can get him to just do just that, I think the Atlanta Hawks definitely found themselves in a good situation. And then, of course, bringing in Nickeil Alexander-Walker, what's so interesting about him is having somebody that can catch and shoot, not somebody that has to get a dribble or who shoots off of the dribble or, he has to create space in order to shoot. No, Nickeil Alexander is able to catch and shoot the ball. And we saw that last season in the playoffs, of course, with him and the Timberwolves, the Minnesota Timberwolves. But, of course, not only just that, he buried about 141 threes last season. That is a career high for him. Shot at about a 38% three-point shooting last season, 42% shooting. 42% of that was the catch and shoot, how he was able to just catch the ball and shoot. Again, this is somebody that the Atlanta Hawks may want going forward because, again, he is able to not only on the defensive end get around screens or get around guys that are trying to set some space up between him and his, the person he's defending, but he's also a very shifty and quick player. So he'd be able to get to a space, get to a spot. Trae Young, again, being the assist artist that he can be, giving him the ball for the catch and shoot. And not only just that, if somebody's zeroing down on him, we can also look for Zaccharie Risacher because he's improved on his shooting last season. And then if somebody's on Zaccharie Risacher, we can go on to Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So the options are endless, in my opinion, okay? The options for the Atlanta Hawks are steadily growing. And just to round things out to Caleb Houstan, though he only appeared in about 58 games last season, he started in 6. But he shot at about 42% from the field, 40% from three-point land. So if you pay attention just to the numbers and how that sounds, 42% of his shooting, let's go with that. All of his shooting, he had about 42%, shooting from the field in general. So that's just any shot, all in general. But 40% of that were 40%, he also shot 40% from the field, 42% from the field, and 40% from three-point land. So you basically see that all he's done is shot three-pointers. Whew, I know that sound like it took a lot. It took a lot for me to say it too. But ultimately, this young man is brought in just to shoot. I do see that the Atlanta Hawks plan on keeping their roster the way that it is, especially the starting five. They can, and of course you can mix it up with bringing in Kristaps Porzingis with Mo Gay. Or you could possibly bring in Mo Gay with Asa Newell. Or you could possibly bring Onyeka Okongwu in with Kristaps Porzingis. The options are endless on the interior, which is great. But I feel as though a lot of these guys on the outside, Kristaps Porzingis, again, he gives a threat on the outside, shots as well. But you got Luke Kennard, you've got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, you got Caleb Houstan, you still got Zaccharie Risacher, who has improved his shooting. Dyson Daniels has shown that he is able to shoot from the three-point line as well. These Atlanta Hawks are going to be a shooting team. Pay attention and listen to what I'm telling you, because I'm telling you right now, these guys are going to be a shooting team, and they are going to be a strong contender for the Eastern Conference. All right. My name is Walter Pollard. This is Atlanta Hawks Digest, and I'm signing out. Peace.